that, oh, and I wanted to let you know that, I'm sorry, let me take a step back. If everything is clear as mud, a little overwhelming or anything like that, we do have a resource website. And you, of course, can reach out to us at any time. So keep that in mind. And the session is being recorded. Okay, so let's talk about our agenda. The first thing we're going to do is take a look at the general platform. We're going to talk about registration, technology, a set of best practices, our virtual on-campus interviews, and then the resources that I mentioned. All right. So we have a couple of terms that we wanted to go over today. And if y'all give me, sorry, y'all. Okay, so our primary registrant is going to be the one that will register everybody for the company. You've got a secondary registrant, which is the representative. There is a registration subform to be filled out, Q, which just means the line in which students are in, as if you were in a in-person career fair. Your technology platform, you will be bringing your own technology, and you'll be providing hyperlinks for that to be functional and engage with these students. Okay, so right now I am going to quit sharing my screen and I'm going to hop over to a video. Now, this is the part usually in presentations I tell you where I go, oh, okay, so I'm going to get up and get some water and I'm going to do this and that. But I promise you, this is actually going to show you the interface between you and the student and what it's going to look like. So if you will just bear down with me and really take this video in, it's going to give you a lot of information and show you actually the platform you will be in. So, okay. All right, and here we go.
We're going to start here on the employer side where, you know, on the morning of a fair, things will really begin. So employers will go to your employer interface and of course, you know, they'll need a username and password. So if there's someone who's used your system before or were the registering contact, then they'll have that information. If they were the rep, right, the second or third or fourth person coming to the fair, that registering contact put in the information for them, they'll want to come to your site the morning of the fair, the day before the fair, whenever they want to kind of get set up and do their research. They'll want to come to your employer page and just hit forgot password. That'll generate that initial password for them so they can create their password and then log in immediately. All right, once they sign in, I'm sure you're used to seeing this, right? I'm sure for most of you, you have your career fairs here on the right, as we do in our demo site. But probably the simplest way is to inform them to click on career fairs under events on their left-hand menu. And then they're going to see those fairs that are happening. If they've used our system before, maybe, you know, in a future fair, or if they're coming back after having taken a break in the afternoon, they could click view chats to go right to the chats, right to the student list. I'm actually going to click on registered because that's what you're going to want your employers to do the day of the fair. Kind of start here, let them see the overview of your fair. If they are the registering person and want to see the registration or the invoice, they can do that. If there are any jobs posted, they'd be to see that from this screen. And then most importantly, they want to look at this student list. So get a sense of how many students have RSVP'd, what types of students. So you can see here, I'm seeing their majors, their class levels. For those students that included a resume, which we've been saying all along is so important, right? It's really valuable for employers to be able to see that resume. They could download resumes at this point. Another thing they can do from this list is if I click on advanced search, I can of course narrow this down if I'm just looking for seniors who are about to graduate, if I'm looking for master's level. But right here, students that have expressed interest, right? That's the students that while they were preparing for the fair, clicked the button and said, I'm an employer they have special interest in. So I found a few employers, a few students. I'm going to say select all, and I'm going to send them an email. Now we have this nice invitation that we've put in your system that your employers can use. I'll tell you, I made mine a little bit more personal, so you might want to take a look at your, go back to your system messages and put in the word video chat. You'll find this email. It's the email that employers send to invite students. So I'm a pretty simple employer, so I'm not going to edit this at all, but they could. And I'm just going to send this. So this is telling students that I'm excited to see them. All right, so I've sent that out to the students who specifically expressed interest in me. All right, so once I've done that, as I said, from here, I could click generate publication and get the PDFs of their resumes. I could save this list and print it if I'm a paper kind of person, so I can kind of get ready. So once I've done all of that, I'm going to go back to overview and click on view chats. That's what's really going to open up my chat window and let me begin chatting with students. You can see right here, this is a really important part, designating whether I'm online or not. Everybody's going to start offline. Now, of course, I'm in my demo site, so this employer specifically has been, going back and forth. But the employers want to make sure they put themselves online when they're ready. You can put yourself busy if you just need to step away for a few minutes to take a phone call. If you put yourself on offline, you'll notice you'll get this notice saying that students will be notified if you go offline. Now, of course, if you've got 2 other reps here with you today, the queue is not going to go anywhere if you go offline. But if you're the last rep for your company and you try to go offline, you're going to get this warning letting you know that students are going to be notified that you're not accepting chats anymore. All right, I'm not going to go offline right now. I'm actually going to put myself online. Another important thing is, of course, my chat profile. I can see whether it was me that registered or someone else, what they said about me and who I am. This picture is actually coming from my profile down here on the left, so I could update that personal information if I want to do so. Down here is my video chat instructions. I'll certainly want to take a look at that. You can see that I can edit these instructions. This is a link to my Microsoft Teams meeting today, and this is my cell phone number. This is what students will see when I invite them to chat, so I want to make sure that's accurate. I can want to make sure this is a hyperlink. That's another important thing, to make it as easy as possible for students to get to me. And of course, once the fair starts and students are attending, this is where I'm going to see those students. So you can see here, I've got 2 students in my line. I can view both of their resumes right now, see a little bit about them. If you'll notice that Start Chat is available here, but not here. And that's because I always have to take the next student in line, just like a real fair. The students are in line in a certain order, and I have to respect that. If there is more than one rep here with me today from my company, we're all seeing the same list. So I could grab Jill, and then Caleb would immediately become available to my colleague. Or if one of my colleagues grabs Jill, Caleb would immediately become available to me. You can see that after you get started, after you have a few, you've got this completed queue. Now, of course, again, at the beginning of a fair for a new employer, they won't have anyone here, but I've already done a few, so I've got a few students. If I click on Kelsey, I'm going to see what I said about Kelsey or what my colleague said about Kelsey, if it wasn't me that met with Kelsey. So we're going to be able to see those notes. Okay, so I'm going to click upcoming, get back to my queue here, and I'm ready to get started. So I'm going to click start chat to invite Jill to chat with me. At this moment, I haven't really, started chatting with her yet. She's gotten the invitation, but this countdown won't begin until Jill clicks on the invitation to actually come meet with me. So at this moment, of course, I better make sure I'm logged in my Teams meeting or whatever way I am doing a meeting with students. So here you go. Hello, everybody. So I would log into my Teams meeting and I would just wait for Jill to join me. At this point, Jill's gotten my link and she's, kind of preparing herself, I'm sure, getting all nervous. So she'll click and start talking to me. Once I'm done talking to Jill, I would dismiss Jill from my GoToMeeting or my Teams link or wherever I was. Once Jill's gone, then I would go back to my interface and click End Chat. That's what's actually going to tell the system that I'm done talking to Jill. If you'll notice, the whole time I'm in Teams, I have access to this. So if I want to go back and look at Jill's resume, if I forgot to download it, I can grab it. All the while, of course, Jill's still seeing my camera's still on, I'm still talking to Jill. I could put these side by side on my screen if I want to do that, whatever makes sense. Okay, so as an employer, once I kind of, tell Jill farewell and dismiss her from my meeting, I'm going to click End Chat. You'll notice this clock didn't go down because, of course, Jill's not here to meet with me, so she didn't click on her end. This clock will start counting down as soon as Jill clicks in. When it gets to, I think, about 40 seconds, I, as an employer, going to get a little notice on my computer that says, you're almost out of time. I do have the opportunity to add 2 minutes. So, Jill's not going to see that. On Jill's side, she's just going to know that the countdown has gone to 0 and she's on bonus time at that point. Because, of course, as an employer, I don't know I'm actually going to talk to her for 2 minutes, right? So I don't want, I might only stay with her another 30 seconds, but it puts my timer back up another 2 minutes. And then at the end of that, I'll get another reminder. So the system is certainly encouraging people to stay on track and keep their minutes to the amount they suggested they wanted when they registered for the fair. So when I'm ready and I've, as I said, closed out with Jill, I'll click End Chat. At this point, I can I can put my feedback in. If I want to refer this to someone else, I can do so. I would put any notes in here. She's good for this job, she's good for that job, and then I would click Submit. At that moment, Jill then moves to my completed queue, and I can go back to the upcoming queue. I see no one else has grabbed Caleb, so I'm going to grab Caleb in the same process, right? Caleb now got my invitation. I'm going to go to my Teams meeting, which of course the whole time is on, right? So as soon as Caleb joins, he's seeing me. Even if I'm looking at something else, right? I know how that works. If, I've been using this stuff, as we all have for a while. So Caleb jumps in, Caleb and I talk. I go back. When I'm done, I click End Chat. And now I've cleared my queue. Hopefully more students will join. I don't have to put notes in. You can see I can just click Submit if I'm not interested in those notes. So at that point, you can see I've got no upcoming chats left. And I'm just waiting for someone else to join me. All right, now let me take you over to the student side. So let me actually log out and I'll start from the beginning here. Well, no, I won't log out. I won't take your time, but students will come to your interface and they'll log in. They'll come to Events on your left-hand menu. They'll click on Career Fairs to see your current list of fairs. Go to, the job fair that they want to attend. Once they get to this event, if they have not RSVP'd, they will see that Attend button at the top. So once you've RSVP'd, you're going to see this green bar that I'm seeing now because I RSVP'd earlier in the month for this fair. If I click on this little eye, I'm going to see what we call that information booth information from my Career Services office. So my Career Services office, when they set up the fair, can enter some information about, when they're going to be available and how to reach them. So they've got this separate go-to meeting that they have set up. So someone from the Career Services office all day long will be in that meeting. You can see here, in this case, I told my students I'd be available an hour before to 30 minutes after. And then also I said, here's a link to some common video conference. So, you also could put some more information in here for your students. Okay, so that's how a student might get in contact with you during the fair. If I click on employers, I'm going to see the list of employers that are attending. You can see I favorited everybody. I was here a few days ago. I was pretty excited about attending this fair. I wanted everybody here is interesting to me. Hopefully your students won't do that, but I did it for purposes of the demo. But that's how a student says they're interested. Once I click on an employer, as I just did, you can see that they don't have, this one does not have a rep online yet. So I can't kind of join their queue, but I could click on their group chat and see what's going on with group chat today. So if they had put their link in here, they're telling me they're going to be available every hour for 30 minutes. So that employer. So I'm going to go back and click on an employer that I know has lots of good information and that I want to chat with. So let me find that Flory employer that we were just pretending to be. So you can see here, they not only have the interested, but they've got the join queue button. So I could join the queue from right here, or I could click on Flower Company. So I'm going to see here if they have a group chat going. So this one's saying I'll be there the whole time, right? So I can jump into this company's group chat and ask them questions while I'm in their line. And then I also can join their queue, which I'm going to do. So I've now joined their queue. You can see I'm first in line. They're the company I got in line for first. But one of the benefits, of course, of a virtual fair that's different than a physical fair is that I can go get in other lines at the same time. So I'm also interested in Crystal Clear. I'm also, let's say, interested in rock translations. I'm going to put myself in that queue. And then while I'm waiting, so now I'm in two lines. And while I'm waiting, as we've said before, I could jump into somebody's group chat. I could, click on this GoToMeeting information, jump into her group chat and listen to her explanation or ask her some questions while I'm waiting to be called. Okay, so at this point, as a student, I'm doing my research, I'm getting ready. I've got, got my good clothes on. I've checked my background, and I'm just waiting to be, kind of to be tapped on the shoulder, so to speak. So let me pull that employer back up. So now we're back in that Flory Flower Company, and if you remember, Jack had cleared his queue. He'd seen everybody, but now Rebecca's here. So I'm actually going to move this out of the screen because I want you to see the student side. So I'm now, as you know, I'm logged in as a student, and I'm, looking at things and doing things. And at this exact moment, Jack over there from Flory Flower Company hit my name. So I now get invited to join chat. So now as a student, if you notice, my clock has started to go down. So I know I had 5 minutes with this person and it's begun. So I better click here and join their Microsoft Teams. You can see that it's going to give me information. We're recommending as much as possible that students choose the online version so they don't have to download anything or have the app if they just continue on this browser. And that's an option for most types of video conference today. They won't have to download anything. They can just keep going. So at this point, I would, of course, and I'm not going to do it because we've already seen what a video meeting looks like. But I would click this button and I would get into that employer's GoToMeeting. All the while, of course, I would have this here so I could see that counting down and know I'm getting to the end. If Jack and I have finished our conversation, and he might be over there moving papers around on his desk, but I'm nervous, so I'm going to hit this button quickly. Or if he hits it first, somebody will hit the button. So if I hit end chat, I'm just going to go back. I'm going to actually have Jack hit end chat, so you can see the employer has ended this chat. So that's what will happen if an employer ends the chat while the student's kind of still figuring out where they are. So at that point, I now have very similar to what the employer had, the ability to leave some notes for myself. Loved location, job seems boring. That's too bad, right? But at this point, right, I can now see in my past chat, I'm going to add any notes I want and click submit. At this point now, right, I'm in one chat, and I can start looking at other employers and click back on the employer button, see who else, see what other lines I want to join. I'm going to click on this blue star. I can go to his group chat, right? And, click on his hyperlink and join his chat and give him a call. If that doesn't work, and I can join his queue. So that's how the student interface works. We hope you'll see that, it's pretty streamlined. It seems pretty simple. I hope that you agree with that, and we are excited about the opportunity. We've certainly put on a lot of test fairs ourselves these last couple weeks, so we've been poking and prodding and really think it works great. We've had lots of great connections, everything working well, and we're excited to get this into your hands. All right, thanks so much.
All right, wonderful. Well, I hope that you got some great information from that. So I am going to go back to our slideshow, but in the meantime, I know you saw that there was a chat timer. And so in your registration, y'all have all probably gone through and set that. But I would just like to know, just type it in the chat real quick. Tell me how many minutes you think you spend with a student at an in-person career fair? Just drop it in the chat out of curiosity. I'm gonna give you a few minutes.
Donnell, are you able to see the chat? Do you want me to kind of read it off to you?
Could you read it off to me, please?
Absolutely.
That would be great.
I definitely would say that the common denominator is probably going to be 5 here. There's a lot of folks that are saying 5 minutes. There's a 3 minutes. 10 to 15 is also something. 3 to 5 minutes. Definitely say no more than 15. No less than 3 minutes. So maybe kind of our average is around 5 to 10 minutes for the entire group.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you guys. I'm kind of wanted to give you an idea about thinking about that time frame. So I hope that you learned a lot from the platform video. And so I just want to make sure, is everybody able to see my screen? Caitlin, are you able to see?
Yes, but
Okay.
can you go up to view and make it the large screen view?
Yes.
Full screen mode. Yep, perfect.
All right, there we go.
Perfect.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so next we are going to talk about technology. So I saw some questions already coming in. So we want to make this really clear for you. So you've got 2 ways that you can visit with students: an individual one-on-one video chat and a group chat. So for each of these, there needs to be a separate link per representative. So you have got your primary registrant. So this is the person that filled out the registration form. So if they are also a representative and coming, they would need a technology link number 1. So they filled out information for secondary registrant number 2. So secondary registrant number 2, their technology link would also need to be entered under their information in the registration subform, which I'm going to show you. You've got so on. So you've got a third representative here. They will also need a separate technology link. And so each of you will be able to pull a student out of the queue and do that simultaneously. Now for our group chat. So this is another part of the subform in the registration, which I am going to show you. And this would be technology link number 4. And this would allow you to group chat with multiple students. So again, your engagement options: one-on-one chats and a group chat. So just remember, each representative will have a second link. It must be hyperlinked. That's something you need to make sure when you're entering the information in the subform. And it must be entered by your primary registrant, the person who has registered for the fair. And there is only 1 registration per organization. For the group chats, we need to have a separate link from the one-on-one queue links. And this must be hosted by a secondary representative who is not participating in the one-on-one chats. You cannot do those simultaneously, or one person cannot. All right, so we're going to talk about our primary registrant's responsibilities. So if you're the person who has filled out the registration form, this is what we need you to do. You must complete the registration subform for all secondary registrants. You need to manually create and or collect the technology links from the secondary representatives and update the subform for each secondary registrant. You will also enter the alternate contact information in case the links aren't working. And we ask that you do not use a technology link with a time limit. So if you're like, let's say it was a personal Zoom and it's not a pro Zoom and you only have 45 minutes, you will be cut off and not be able to stay the entire time for the fair. So what I'm going to do right now is, again, I'm going to go into our system. So if you will bear with me, I am going to stop sharing my screen so I can get into our system. All right. Okay. All right. So as you know, we use Cougar Pathway. So I am assuming that the majority of you on the call have logged in. Okay, so you have already completed your registration form. That's why you got the invitation and you are here today. So I'm going to show you how you're going to go in and fill out the subform information. First, you will log in. So here you come to the home screen. When you get to the home screen, you will go to Events. Second, you'll click Career Fairs. And that will bring up a list of the career fairs that are available. For today's purposes, I'm working in the test virtual career fair, but here you'll see the Fall 2020 All Majors Career Fair. So you will go in and you will click on Registered. And that's going to pull up this information right here. You'll be at the overview section. You want to go to the registration section. All right, so now we're in the registration section. So what you want to do is scroll all the way down to the bottom. You will see information you have previously entered. You're going to want to click on Modify. Once you click on Modify, you will see some familiar information that you have entered. So you're going to very easily scroll through this information, might give it a quick review, make sure everything is all right. And so we're going to come now to the representative section. So representative section, and then we've got our number of representatives. So for each representative that is here, whether it's 2, 6, 10, how many, there is not a limit, how many ever you are bringing to this fair, you will need to go down and in this subform, click Add New. So you can see right here, here's Donnell Prince. That is me. I just realized, y'all, I didn't introduce myself. I'm Donnell, so here I am. And so I'm gonna click Add New because I have a representative with me. And so I'm going to go in, I'm going to fill out their information here. The important part is right here under meeting instructions. This is where the hyperlinked technology link goes for that individual. Alternative instructions, this is where information goes in the case the link is not working. A phone number, an email, it can be the careers at the Reynolds and Reynolds or whatever your email address is. So you want to give students an alternate way to contact you just in case. So then I am going to add that information in, and then I'll click and I can add additional representatives, just continuing that process. So hopefully that gives you a good overview. So I'm going to stop sharing and go back to the PowerPoint now. All right, okay. Okay, so this, all right. So here we are back to updating the subform. So this is information that I just showed you. So I just wanted to have a slide that you can come back to, and so you can see those steps. All right, so next, we are going to talk about the career fair login. So this is the day of. So we have entered all the information, all the links in our subforms. We are ready to go. It's the day of. We come to log in. For the primary registrant who completed the registration form, you will go into this website, our Cougar Pathway website, which we've got here at the bottom. You will scroll down till you see this section which says employers. You will click sign in. that will pull up this second screen. You will then enter your username and your password. For a secondary registrant, so you will go into the same website, you will come to the employer section, and then you will click sign in. The same screen will show up. However, for the secondary registrant, you will need to click forgot password. You will then receive an email and it will give you instructions and you will be able to log in with that information. Let me go back real quick. One thing to say about this is we ask that you do this early. You can do this up to 24 hours before the fair so that you can get that done smoothly and contact us if you have any difficulty. Okay, so we're going to talk about your view or your dashboard for the day of the fair. So we looked at this a little bit on the videos, so I'm just going to highlight some things. Number one, you always want to mark yourself online if you are available for chats. If you step away, please let students know that you are busy, and when you come back, click online. Number two, this is your line of students. So this is just as if you were at an in-person career fair and Jill and Caleb have gotten in line to talk to you. So you're first person in line, and there is no way to change the order of the line. It will run as they get into line. For Jill, we can see her information, we can view her resume quickly, and then we can click start to chat because we are ready to talk to Jill. All right, so here is just a couple of suggestions for success. The first thing is when you go into your start chat view, the first thing you're gonna see is Jill. And Jill, it'll say chat request sent because you have sent Jill a chat request. Now we're gonna give Jill a couple of seconds to accept that chat request and hop on with you. Number two, as soon as Jill comes on, this is the timer that will start. This is the time that you have set, and it will start counting down for you. Number three, you will see your link that the student will also be clicking on here in the video chat instructions, which you've already clicked on and you're waiting. So a big suggestion from us that we think will make things just run a little smoother is if you take two browsers, you open your Cougar Pathway view, you open your technology view, and you set them side by side. So your external platform, we've got a couple of listed. You can bring your own technology. And so that will just help you to run smoothly through the fair and students to be able to come in and out. Okay, with that, I am going to turn it over to Caitlin Dye. She's our Assistant Director for the Employer Development and Relations team. And she's just going to give you some information about an option that you might want to use.
Good afternoon, everyone. As Donnell said, my name is Caitlin Dice. Just want to share a brief option that we wanted to provide for y'all just to think about. So we know sometimes that having multiple links can be a little bit challenging for folks if they don't have the specific software that's available. So we just wanted to potentially recommend Microsoft Teams as an option. This would be something that you would do internally if you do have Microsoft Teams. And so what you could do is create an actual team for your representatives. They would all be in one kind of platform together. And as you can see what this employer did was they have their channels that are along the left-hand side there. The first one is just general, but that second one is group chat. The third one is the primary representative. The fourth one is secondary, and then the fifth one is the second rep. And so what you would do for each of those is add in a video link or video meeting within each channel. And so this would just allow you to have multiple video meetings going on, but you're all still kind of in one platform. You can talk with each other and engage throughout the event instead of having to use external platforms. And so we're happy to chat with you further about this if you have questions, and maybe this is something you want to explore using. We would probably recommend it if you have more than 3 representatives, just so that you can kind of keep everybody together. And then what you would do is as Donna had kind of circled on the right-hand side there, there's that meet option, and you would just schedule a meeting within each of the channels. And then as that meeting is there, there's going to be a link associated with that, and you would take that link and just put it into the subform that Donnell talked about. So kind of just an easy option. We wanted to provide that recommendation to y'all. If you have questions about that, please reach out to the Hire UH email. Donnell's going to reference that in the future, and then our team will kind of help guide you through that process. So please let us know if you have any questions. Again, not a requirement. You could use Zoom, you could use Teams, you can use WebEx, BlueJeans, whatever it would be. We just wanted to recommend this. Thanks, Donnell.
All right, thank you. So going along with that, we're trying to give you some just success options, and right now I want to talk about some best practices that are going to help you be most successful during this fair. All right, so I am going to, well, the number one is updating your employer profile. Now, I know a lot of you have a Cougar Pathway account, actually all of you do, and we go in, and as an employer, we fill out some information about ourselves, but maybe we don't go into the profile and actually complete all of the options that are available. So I am going to let you know that this is what a student sees about you. And there is a very in-depth set of they're broken into sections that you can fill out information, including about us. You can drop in your logo, you can put in videos, pictures, awards your company may have won. So to access that, you go to Cougar Pathway, you go to the home section, and you will see the word profile down at the bottom, and then it is at the top, and then you will see the drop down menu options, and you can fill those in. So I am highly recommending that you go in and do this information now, because our students will be doing research on companies that will be attending. And as you see, they can pick their favorites, and they can already make a connection with you prior to the career fair. If you would like to add a picture, this is something I highly recommend. It just creates a warm feeling for a student to be able to put a face with a name. So you also you log into Cougar Pathway. When you're on your home page, you will go to account, you will select personal information, and you will see the option to enter your picture. All right, we also encourage you to join the fair early. So the fair will be open 1 hour before start time. So that means it will be open at 11 a.m. on September 16th for you to do setup. So we encourage you to do that. Come in, set up your video meeting at least 15 minutes before the event, and please keep your technology link open for the full duration of the event. You want to set up Symplicity and the video meeting in 2 browsers, which I talked about. So having that information side by side. All right. During the event, this is something that I'm really excited about. I'm sure y'all realize there's a lot of new features. One of them is that you can email a section of students or all of the students during the fair. Actually before, during, and after the fair. But what I'm suggesting is during the event, send a shout out to them. Say hello. If your line goes down, you don't have anybody in line, you can send a message and let them know, hey, come visit my line. So there's the opportunity for you to draw those students in. You also can review student resumes before, during, and after the event. And I believe, as you saw in the video, you can create your own resume book. So that is something new, that you will be able to leave with a resume book from all the students or just the students that you have chosen to select. There is also optional notes. And so that was highlighted in the video. Remember to hit the submit button at the bottom and then go back to your view chats to choose your next student. I really like those options. I hope y'all are able to use them and that it makes things go quickly and you're able to collect information about a student in a timely manner. All right, if you are using a Zoom link, the history on Zoom does stay, the chat history stays there for the duration of the event. It does not clear and reset. So we ask that you clear out the information for each student as you see them. So when you are done with student, as we saw Jill's was the student, you chatted with Jill, you may have done some text chatting, please clear that out so that there's no information about Jill that the next student would see. Before you leave, you definitely want to make sure that you set your status to offline. So this will clear your queue and it will end all the chat activity. And I'm going to go back if y'all don't mind. And just one thing I also wanted to say was that before the event, you can send a welcome message or a message about yourself to the students. So I would suggest that you take advantage of that and welcome those students, encourage them to come to your virtual booth, maybe tell them what you're hiring for. Definitely you can start that interaction with student, and the more you engage with them, I think the better the experience is going to be. So, okay. Whew, y'all, I feel like I have talked a lot. Is everybody doing okay? Woohoo! All right. So, I want to talk about our virtual on-campus interviews. So many of you have participated in our on-campus interviews where you came on campus, we set everything up for you, you had the room, we had the schedule, and we got the students there. We are doing the same thing now, but virtually. So I really want to encourage you to use this. It is very convenient for you, for our students, and I'm going to tell you why. So I actually I'm gonna flip this around. I'm gonna tell you why. Because with this, our technology in Cougar Pathway, we can collect all the applications of the students interested in your job. We can email the selected, or our system, once you choose who you are interested in, you select candidates, we can email that selected candidate. The system will schedule interviews. They will collect and display the resume, and all you have to do is show up on the day and I will have your schedule ready for you. So the way that you go about doing this is you submit a date and time for your OCI, and I've got the path listed for you right here. It's in Cougar Pathway. And so when you follow that, you will get down to a red button that says request a schedule. You also must post a job to go with the on-campus interview. So you want to submit your job posting. And then, as I said, we will collect the applications, and then you just go in. Your next step is just to click a box, either interested or not interested in who you want to interview, and we will do the rest. We do ask that you provide a technology link, and so that'll be the way that you're able to video chat with students. But on that day, I will have your schedule ready for you and everything will be set up. All right. And just to recap on that also, it does take about a 3 to 4 week process for us to get the information from you, collect applications. So you want to think about it now, about scheduling it for after the career fair and when you want to do those interviews, because you would be coming up on the beginning of October if we're scheduling now. So that's also something, that's information you can provide to the student during the career fair, that you will be hosting on-campus interviews and you'd really like for them to apply for your position. All right, so now to these resources that we have talked about. So we have created a website. So here is the link for you down at the bottom, and it contains the following. You will have the Demo Day PowerPoint presentation that I'm using, a recording of Demo Day so you can go back and check out any information you need to. The employer student interface video that I showed you will be there. There's a Symplicity employer instruction video, very in-depth, goes into methodology and all kinds of information about how and why certain things are in the platform and how to use them. I've created a UH success manual that has a lot more screenshots of the things that I'm telling you to do. So I will be emailing that to all of our registrants just after this meeting today. We've got, you'll get a recording of the demo day, and then virtual career fair instructions for employees. That's another document that was created by Symplicity. That's just, if you're into paper and you want to print that out, you sure can. All right, so I know we have talked about a lot of information, so I know it can be an overload, but I do have some reminders that I really need to stress. This is on the housekeeping side. So number one, you must have your payment submitted by September 11th. That is the deadline. After that date, all registrations that have not received payment will be canceled. So we definitely don't want you to be in that group. So remember, September 11th is that deadline. You also need to have your job posting submitted in Cougar Pathway by September 11th. So this platform allows us to connect your job posting with your profile so that students are able to see that. So we definitely want to be able to connect that for you. Your secondary registration information must be added into our event registration subform by September 11th. All web links and technology that needs to be added into the event registration form must be added by September 11th. So as you will see, we have got a theme here, and it is that everything is due by September 11th. I appreciate the laugh. I see some smiles there. All right, so that brings us to the conclusion of this presentation. And so